Thinking it through rationally, I realize I don't need to be robbing a convenience store without a getaway car. And didn't Lamar's friend Simeon say something about needing a car as well? Something about getting a car, bringing it by his place, and apparently getting a custom job on the house. I'm hoping custom job is not a euphemism. So now it's a matter of finding what car is going to suit a lady like myself with such style and class. This one doesn't look bad. It's got a nice little pep to it, but I've just never been a fan of muscle cars. But it will let me get downtown so I can find something a little bit more modern. You may not have noticed, but I'm not an old-fashioned kind of girl. I would imagine there ought to be something right up in here. Something around the Vinewood Hills area. That ought to suit my up-and-coming nature. Lord, this place has as much street repair going on as back home in Liberty City. This seems to be a fairly good part of town. Let's see if we can't find something up in here that might be a little bit more becoming of my style. That looks nice. And looks like it has a nice top, too. That'll be two things going down the street with a nice top. Felon GT. Let's take this to the customs and see what he can do for us. He just better not be expecting certain favors in return. It's quite the nice car. Got more switches and knobs on the dashboard than I'm used to in the usual bangers I've been driving. I wonder if the top comes down in this thing. I'll have to get them to explain to me how to work all that while I'm at the shop as well. According to our GPS, this should be the place. Let's pull on in. And let's see what this fella can do for me.
Simeon said he'd spot you. Whatever you want, he'll pick up the tab this one time.
I've just got a bad feeling about this. Anytime anyone starts talking about they'll pick up the tab. Now, let's see. I figure I'd probably better get a tracker and some insurance, because something just tells me that driving around in Los Santos isn't exactly the safest and easiest on your car to keep it in pristine condition. Well, they buffed out the dents and scratches for free. That's a start. I need the tracker. Let's put full coverage on it, why don't we? Then I'm thinking maybe change the plates. Will my Uncle Simeon change the lights? No. And I bet he won't give me neon. Well, he will. I got a feeling he's going to be expecting a lot for this. And I'm definitely a woman who can give him a lot, just not the way he's probably thinking. Now, what about a respray? Yes, indeed, he will pay for it, at least for something basic. Let's see just how big a bill we can run up while we're on somebody else's credit card. After all, that is the San Andreas way, isn't it? I believe I've spent just about as much as Simeon's gonna let me put on his account for the day. I like it okay, but I'm a little concerned that it might be like picking someone up at the club. Oh, it looks okay at the store, but what's it going to be like the next day when you get it in the sunlight? It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. But the final test, let's get it out into the sunlight. And of course, everything is going down for the night. Well, except for me. Not too bad. I think, at least for now, I can live with that. Can I lower the top? I can. Very nice. Now I really feel like a San Andreas girl. Now what have I got coming up in my email? Use the photograph in this email to locate the location of the treasure. So, my Nigerian prince friend has sent me yet another email. This time it looks like a graveyard. So, I know there's one on the southwest side of town. Why don't we head out over there and look up some of San Andreas's dead and best finest? Nothing I like better in the middle of the night than go wander around at night in a deserted graveyard I've never seen before. I'm not worried about the dead, of course. It's more the meth heads and winos I'm concerned with. So, we'll go take a look. I wonder what the after-hours service is like at this place. Do they have someone manning the desk, and is there a concierge? Seems easy enough. Unfortunately, I just realized I locked the doors and left my key in the car. I just hope it doesn't start raining because I left the top down too. Hopefully there'll be an all-night locksmith. So, I'm supposed to find... What is this? A text from Gerald. I need to see how your gun skills are before I can have you doing jobs for me. Head to Cypress Flats and prove your worth. Sure, Gerald. But first, I have a treasure hunt from a Nigerian prince to figure out here. Judging by this, I'd say I'm probably facing the wrong direction. It looks like... Strangely enough, it looks like I might actually be close. I guess coming in the back door sometimes is the best way. This does look like a similar area. It seems like there's the hill and there are the rock formations. The bushes are similar. I'm thinking perhaps on the other side of this little pond here. I see more tombstones over there. I believe I must be very close to the place I'm looking for here. The background looks very close. If we can just find the correct layout of tombstones in the foreground, hopefully no one will get offended with me walking across the top of their heads. I'm thinking this must be it. We are very close. Is there a cross on one of these stones? Perhaps over this way where these are. There's the bush. There's a path leading up the hill. The path coming down and going across. This has to be the area right in here. Now, it's a question of where could this clue be? And what exactly am I looking for? I can feel that I'm very close. Could it possibly be over on the chapel or the mausoleum? There's a cross back there. We have to be very close. These stones here, that lines up with the bush on the hill. There's the gap. It has to be in this general area. They're the other two that I'm looking for right there. This has to be the place. It's very close. Now it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what it is that we are looking for. I have been to the top of the hill, I've been in the middle of the pond, and I have been all around the little chapel. But unless someone 6 feet under the ground here has forgotten their shopping list, I think we might have found a clue. Treasure tore our family apart. It ain't here no more. I moved it. You fuckers will never find it. He seems rather sure of himself, and honestly, anybody that can stick a thumbtack into a marble tombstone, he might know what he's saying. Our Nigerian prince seems to have not sent us just on a wild goose chase. Not yet, anyway. The treasure has been moved, and we are going to have to find out where it might be. First, I'm going to get back in my car. I feel a little bit safer with 6 walls of, well, 5 with the top down, walls around me. And fortunately, I remembered I have a spare key in my other pocket. So we can go ahead and get in the car. I'm so happy it didn't rain. Using clues found on the note, sourcing where the paper came from, where it's generally sold in this place, and various seeds and bits of dirt left on it, I can tell that there are 2 left up in Blaine County in my uncle's old stomping grounds, and 1 down here in Los Santos, fairly close. I'll go and inspect it first. Maybe I won't have to make the trip up north. All those years of watching Sherlock Holmes has definitely paid off, as I've deduced that this is where the leaves around the message have came from. I have definitely got to visit a clothing store soon, however. I need something more appropriate for these kind of events, as I am not prepared for a field expedition. My Florsheim zipper boots just are getting all scuffed up. And this sawgrass is still playing hell on my legs. Now what is that up above? I believe I saw a cave. We should have had flashlights for this job. Now I'm wondering I only hope that my little Nigerian prince friend is not a hermit, inviting me to come into his parlor. Just in case, we're going to go in prepared and armed. Along with finding a clothing store, I also need to see if I can find a gym. All my time back in Liberty City is really starting to tell. Nothing there was more than a bus or a taxi ride away. I'm just getting tired so quickly. I can definitely say that having a subway definitely spoiled me. But not as spoiled as whatever I'm smelling in here. That's not exactly what I would call tidy-whities. I would say he was probably missing a vital part of his head there. The note said that the family was tore apart. I can't speak to that, but I can definitely speak to the fact that it looks like his head was tore apart. And I think his tidy-whities are going to need a lot of Clorox. Now, judging by the dirt on his fingers and the name written in the back of his shorts there, I think I've got a good idea where the next location up in Blaine County is going to be. Blaine County. I'm going back to Blaine County. Facing the start of another day in San Andreas. And now you understand why I don't like Blaine County. I think it has to do something with the Alamo Sea here. All the pollution and the chemicals really mess with people's heads out this way. If nothing else, they're not very creative vulgarians. Smell that fresh breeze coming off the hills there. Smell of fertilizers and dead fish. I'm hoping that that wasn't my Nigerian prince friend back there in that cave. Just because if anyone is going to shoot him in the head for luring someone into a rape hole, I wanted it to be me that did it. It looks like we're going to have to scour this area for clues. At least I'm starting to feel a little bit more fit than I was. All this running around and having to try and scale hills is definitely starting to have its effect on me. I think I'm going to have to drive around the dike, though, this levee. I can say that I drove my felon to the levee, and the levee was not dry, especially with this wonderful, sticky, greasy rain coming down now. Some reason, anytime that I'm in a convertible, it always seems like it's going to rain. Strange that always seemed to work in Liberty City, too. I'm hoping that I can find a cheap but reliable car wash in town. 'Cause I imagine driving across all this salty, crunchy fish bones and muck is not doing the best for my car. Something tells me that this shack is rather suspicious. Let's see if we can find any clues inside. Uh-oh, Raggy. This looks promising. Let's take a closer look. Is it the chair? Is it the radio? Or is it the bloody shovel sitting next to it? Okay, well, judging by the blood on the shovel and the station that the radio was tuned to, and the color of the tobacco stains and smell on the handle from where he was gripping it, I believe I can deduce where this shovel came from. And I think I might know where the hole could be. Of course, I have to admit that the metal plate screwed to the handle that said property of, and if lost, please return to, with a GPS destination, might have aided my powers of deduction a small amount. You know, sheerly coincidental, though. I used my elementary means to figure it out. Unfortunately, it's still in Blaine County. We're not going to be heading back to civilization yet. I can't believe that in only 3 days in Los Santos without a nap or a shower, running on anything but redwoods and bean machine coffee, that I've already gotten a brand new car and then scratched and dinged the hell out of it. I have definitely got to get some sleep. Quite a storm brewing. I remember the song always says that it never rains in southern San Andreas, but man, it pours. It pours. And it is trying to prove the song right today. We should be getting close. I'm thinking this is the farm that it came from, so somewhere in this general area should be the last step to my clues. Then I can make my Nigerian prince happy. But first, a quick smoke. Or if nothing else, just to dry out my lungs a little bit. That, and I feel like my voice is getting a little bit less raspy. Let's see, we have an empty weapon case, quickly filling up with rainwater. It looks like a pistol used to be here, and judging by the box, probably a very nice one. This can only mean one thing. The water in the weapon box is supposed to remind me of the ocean. The ocean is supposed to remind me of fish. Fish is supposed to remind me of my Nigerian prince friend and his fishing schemes so far. Those fishing schemes are making me think about the emails he might have read, the emails, the knowledge he might have gained of me, and the fact that he probably has learned my favorite place to go fishing out here on the West Coast. So let's see how much he really knows about me and whether that is where I need to go next. Hey, it makes just as much sense as keeping a record of cigar ashes. I believe I've gotten about as close to the location as I can go by road. So now it's a matter of finding my way down. That and hoping that that's the same headlight I knocked out earlier. I perhaps should have went and got the car upgraded by Simeon after I drove it all around the county. This exit looks promising. If anything's going to lead me down to the islands, heading in this way is going to. I'm just wondering what state the beach is going to be in. And whether I should put the top down. Because if I'm going to get in the water, I'm going to get really, really wet anyway. Something tells me that this might not be the best way to head. I'm not sure where it goes, But that doesn't look like the friendliest building up there. And I have got to get a car wash. This is why I hate Blaine County and the Alamo Sea. It's not that it's so filthy up there. It's just that its whole ambiance kind of sticks to you here. This looks like a slightly friendlier path. At least it doesn't have a gate, although it will probably dirty up my car even more. Now it's just a question of how close can I get down to the water. I refuse to accept that any place a hippie mobile can go, that my felon won't be able to make it. And look there. Someone has left a couple of handy sea-doos floating in the water for me. Just what I need. I won't have to get terribly wet after all. And unfortunately, it looks like there's nothing worth taking over here, based on the legal precedent of finders keepers. Now, I hope no one minds if I borrow their speeder. I promise I'll bring it back. Hopefully in similar condition. Now, let's see just how much my rich Nigerian prince long-lost uncle might have left me over here on this barren rock. And let's see if we can find a halfway decent spot to park this. Let's don't bash it up. And you try not to wash off too far. Where could this be? I'm smelling something. And now I'm seeing something. Okay. It definitely looks like that whoever came here, they either fought it out amongst themselves, or perhaps there was a third person who decided we didn't need any witnesses or any tracks. This looks much like the same box that we had back there. Holes Overland Stagecoach Company. Very interesting and very old. Very pretty as well. Very nice. Got a great feel in my hand there. A very nice end to my little goose chase here. Assuming we can get back. I'm hoping that the Sea-Doo is still close by and I'm not going to have to get this gun too rusted up here. Let's go back to the car and then I guess go see what Lamar's friend Gerald has for us. He's been quite the insistent little cuss, but at least we feel a little bit better armed now. That was well worth it. Thank you, Nigerian Prince. Best fishing scam pulled on me all week. Don't scratch my paint. Worse. I think, before we get in, let's decide which one we're going to carry. We have an untraceable pistol and a vintage double-action revolver. What will be a very pretty car when we get it cleaned up a bit, that we can let the top down and let the stereo blast as the wind blows through our hair. I'm really starting to feel like a Los Santos girl.